could this be happening? If you say God is real, the problem is not the reality of God. What do you know about God? And what aspect of God do you know that can handle the obvious challenge in your life? Whatever it is that is a challenge is not even an argument whether you have a God or not. All have a God, but the ones that are strong and will do exploit are the ones that do know their God. Many have been deceived by the devil and ran the way of folly, and they call themselves atheists, arguing that there is no God because of challenges in their lives that they could not surmount. The problem is not with God. It is traced to their ignorance of a dimension in God that handles the plague of their lives. So it becomes the responsibility of every Christian to explore God in his lifetime. The greatest preoccupation of any entity in the realms of God is the pursuit of the knowledge of God. So Jesus comes in John 17 verse 3 and he summarizes life. He said, this is life eternal, that they may know him. It's not a function of what you have. It's a function of your knowledge. Because all things that pertain to life and godliness have been given to us, but it is obtainable only through the ginosko of God. If there is a part of all things that pertains to life and godliness that is lacking in a man's life, the problem is not traced to God. It's traced to what he knows about God. This is life eternal, that they may know him, the only true God. But the devil is a wicked spirit. Part of the advantages that he has is the fact that he was a creature of the presence. He was a being of the presence. So he understands how to rob a generation of what they have in God. Because he understands the mysteries, the precepts, the patterns, and the principles of God. He is a creature of the presence. He said, where wert thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? When the sons of the morning sang for joy, they watched God carry out some feats of creation. So they understand some of the secret codes that are locked into this world. So when the devil wants to rob a generation of their inheritance, what he advertises to them are pathways that leads to ignorance. The challenge and the plague of the believer is the mountains of ignorance in his life. The moment you know a dimension of God that handles the problem you have, your problem becomes the past. And the reason we preach and keep preaching is to open up the portals of God so that men can know him and commune with his spirit. He said you were in Eden from the day of thy creation until iniquity was found in you. Until iniquity was found in you. He said, out of the multitude of thy merchandise, you corrupted thyself. So he knows what to do to be darkened. There is a multitude of a merchandise that brings about darkness of the soul. And it comes to educate generations upon generation the way of darkness. And we embrace it and we are separated from the commonwealth of Israel. So in Ephesians 4:18, he said we are alienated from the life of God through the ignorance that is in our hearts because we have been darkened. Even when the gospel is brought to them, he said, if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them who are lost, whom the God of this world have blinded. What area of your heart is blinded? It is an area that the devil will exploit and exploit again. Resolutions don't bring men to advantage. It is the knowledge of God. Because knowledge does not bring knowing. Knowledge brings freedom. He said, and thou shalt know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. The moment knowledge comes, you don't know so much, you become so free. Yeah. You know, our generation is losing out something. We think we know, so we come to talk. The sign that you know is not what you say. The sign that you know is the testimony of how much you have become like God. Because knowledge brings liberty. The man that knows so much that is not the knowledge of God, his head is lofty. But the man that has the knowledge of God is so free that he can walk through darkness, and it's as if darkness does not exist. The psalmist said, you lead me in the path of righteousness for your name's sake. Though I walk through the valley of the shadows of death, the deepest darkness can no longer hold him back, because he has acquired the knowledge that brings liberty. A few weeks ago, an angel of the Lord came to me, and he caught me up into the spirit and began to show me some of the things God wants to release to our generation. And he said, God wants to release grace, God wants to release strength, and God wants to release wisdom. He said grace is the ability that God is giving to this generation to live above death and corruption. So we will be armed on the left and on the right to counter everything the devil is doing. So the heads of many will be exalted like the horn of the unicorn. The heads of many. If that doesn't come upon you, your life will be a struggle. You don't do what you do because you are smart. You do what you do because by divine politics you were ordained. And when that grace comes upon your head, whether the devil likes it or not, you are exalted like the horn of the unicorn. He said this is one of the spiritual commodities that is given to this generation, and many have been numbered. So the reason you begin to sense hunger to pray is not because you love prayer. There is a wisdom from the mountains of Zion that is sucking you to the place where you interact with grace. Because that which God has to offer is on the mountain. So blow the trumpet in Zion. Sound an alarm upon his holy mountain. So when that hunger comes to fast, you are hearing the sound of a trumpet. The angels that are part of your calling and were commissioned with you from Zion, they are beginning to suck your reality. So your spirit man begins to tell your natural man, come brother, there is a key on the mountain waiting. There is a key. It's a summon to deep places, because only them who travel to the deep can see the wonders of God. Graces have been allocated. So angels, creatures of heaven, are wooing men to the presence. Wooing men, sucking them into prayer. It looks as if they are useless. Many are distracted with the pursuit of life. They are pursuing things because the devil brings anxiety as a burden and put on their shoulder. We don't run by speeding, we run by waiting. So it doesn't matter who moves first. The guy can labor and go forward. Wait for me. When I touched that grace, it said the hand of God came upon Elijah. He outran the chariots of Ahab. It doesn't matter if you are running on the chariot of the king. What is the grace on your head? When it comes, forget it. You will lead your generation. God is releasing graces. Many who are numbered, they are not aware. Somebody enters his room. He came from a church service. He still wants to pray. What you don't know is that before you came home, the angel was waiting for you. Because he knows that the journey to the top of the mountain is yet far, and you have not prepared enough. So you prayed in the morning, but you must pray in the night, because you must touch that grace. It's an oil flowing from Zion. How many would that oil rest on their head? Kamash, Fedakarias, Gadagasigis, Mantekabaki Robarask, Mandaria Pades at the Gavis, Mekorina Hadak. The men that should change the fortunes of nations are here, but they don't know the value of grace.